So I got a message recently from a viewer who was seeking some clarification. This person opened up with a whole slew of personal challenges and difficulties, the kind of things that we all struggle with in life. And they told me that they had found a lot of helpful information in my videos, as well as from other people. And although they had a fairly good understanding of everything that they were going through, as well as all the spiritual teachings, concepts, principles, and so on, which relate to those issues, it just seemed as though nothing was really getting resolved. And I know that this is something that many of us find perplexing and perhaps frustrating, so I wanted to take a moment to talk about it. And even though what I'm about to say I've said before, it's worth repeating. In my own experience, having dealt with all kinds of depression and dissatisfaction throughout my life, I turned to spirituality for help. I read hundreds of books, I attended dozens of lectures, I watched countless videos online, and from all of that, what I gained was a thorough intellectual understanding of all my so-called problems or issues or what have you, as well as the various solutions. But for some reason, all that information didn't really have any significant effect on my overall mood, my outlook, the very quality of my life. I even came to a point where I was sick of hearing it. I couldn't pick up another spiritual book. There wasn't anything I hadn't heard already. And there wasn't anything which really seemed to improve my situation. But what I also realized in that moment was that there's a profound distinction between understanding something intellectually and understanding it in the very depths of one's being. I'm talking about the kind of understanding that comes only through self-observation. And that's what I was missing. Now, I'm not saying that it's absolutely pointless to hear these things, to read about them and so on. In fact, it's very helpful to hear these things repeated over and over again, because it's planting seeds within us. Sometimes we have to hear the same message repeated several times before it finally clicks. And what happens in that moment is not that you have merely collected information from some external source, but that your own insight has woken. But getting to that point takes some patience and some practice. It takes a certain amount of surrender. It arises when the mind is relaxed, when we've let go, when we've stopped resisting and struggling, when we've shifted our attention into the space of awareness, where we're not caught up in the thinking mind, but rather we're observing it as if from a distance. This may be difficult to understand because we're so accustomed to struggling, to trying to force things or fix things and so on. And it may seem impossible to just sit with everything and let go, to just relax into the moment and allow whatever is to be. But doing this is actually effortless. In fact, it has nothing to do with doing. It's about simply being. And it's the most simple thing in the world, but we make it out to be the most difficult thing. So what to do? The idea is to be able to simply observe all of this without being attached to any of it, to observe all that is going on within you with a gentle curiosity, with nothing more than the desire to understand. And that's all. To just understand, because it's in understanding all of that the transformation occurs naturally of itself. You don't really have to make any effort other than that. Whatever suffering you're experiencing in the moment, to be able to just look deeply into it, to see where it's arising from, what's beneath it. And even then, when you can see where it's arising from, whether it's some expectation or desire or attachment, to go into that as well, to get to the very root of it. And no one can do this for you. This is why reading and listening to people talk about these things only has so much benefit. It only takes you so far. It merely points you in the direction of yourself, and then you have to take it from there. You have to go within and see for yourself. You have to realize these things for yourself. It's not enough to believe them or to understand them intellectually, logically, rationally. It's our own insight into these things which results in true, lasting transformation. If you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.